Bus driver shortages in Fulton County create disruptions at the start of school. Interesting. We get this Milton Herald and bus driver shortages. I said, well, that's interesting. So district officials scramble to shore up 30 positions. Fulton County Schools is asking parents for patience as it works to fill a shortage of bus drivers to transport nearly 70,000 students to and from school each day. In a letter sent to parents last week, district officials cited some of the extreme shortages of drivers for delays in buses serving the system's 108 schools. Interesting. All right, so the district is currently running 704 routes with approximately 675 drivers. This is a shortage of nearly 30 drivers, but the issue is not new. We've struggled for years to maintain a full roster of bus drivers, enticing new applicants through higher hourly pay and retention bonuses. All right. So what's happening here is this is going to happen. And I'm telling you, man, this is just the beginning. They've had a shortage of bus drivers for years. They've had to entice them with higher wages plus benefits, by the way. That didn't do the job. We still have a shortage, an extreme shortage now. What other industries are extreme shortages? Oh, healthcare industry, which is why we've had to import doctors from India, nurses from Haiti, CNAs from Kenya, Ghana, all over the place, in Guatemala. It's so flippin' obvious. Why they threw the false flag of the Afghanistan insanity. They knew this was going to happen. They said, we want this to false flag so we can bring Afghan immigrants in here. And I got no qualm for people who want to come to this country and are leaving everything behind to get here. I got nothing but respect. That's guts, man. I don't like the way the government handles that crap with open borders at the South and false flag to allow basically we can bring all these Afghan refugees here without any sense of who they are or anything like that. But get it as it may, man, I don't blame the people for coming here, not in the least. In fact, we need the labor. That's why we have to import all these people to provide us these services. But you think about it, there's already extreme shortages of some of these things. And then you start mandating the jabba jabba ding dong. What does that do for the shortages? It increases it significantly. So how do you deal with those shortages? The only way to deal with shortages is obviously slavery, which we're not inclined to do, or I hope, or increase wages and benefits. Now, how do you pay for those increased wages and benefits? Oh, you tax people more or you raise the prices. There's no other way around that. In this case, for Fulton County, you pay people more, which means you tax higher. There's no two ways around that, my friends, because that's the only way they got. I guess Fulton County, can they issue bonds? I'm sure they can. Can they issue bonds to pay bus drivers? I doubt it. So they raise the prices, which is the taxes to pay for these people. So I'm in Fulton County. We got extreme shortages of bus drivers. I'm paying for the schools. You can see the taxes going. Maybe a special tax for bus drivers to incentivize those people to get off their tush and come here to work. You see what I'm saying? Now, you think about the shortages that are already there in nurses and doctors and CNAs. The CNA, certified nursing assistant, the people who go into the assisted living homes and stuff like that to take care of the frail and elderly. A horrible job. No one wants to do it, but if you're a Haitian immigrant and you're like, I can flee from Haiti to come up here and work with Grandma Jones and wipe her butt and all that, I'm going to do it for sure. You can't blame her. So what you do now? But now there's going to be a shortage there because a lot of the Haitians are viscerally hesitant to do the jabba jabba ding dong. So they're going like, well, we're going to mandate that? And they're like, oh, no. So now you're going to have extreme shortage there. What does that do to the cost of healthcare services? It's going to increase it without question. Medicare doesn't pay a lot of these services anyway. It's going to increase it without question, man. Because you already have a shortage. Now you're going to throw another 30% of the nurses under the bus because they don't get the jabba jabba ding dong. So how do you pay for that? You raise the prices. So if you need these services, your prices are going to be inflated drastically. If you need bus services in Fulton County for your schools, but the funny thing is in the Fulton County, and I'm just using this for example, you don't have to have kids in school to pay the tax, man. You still can pay you still pay the tax. Now, I'm not sure what the homestead is if you're over 65. I don't know. But some counties, if you're over 65, you no longer pay the school tax. I don't know about that here. But anyway, be it as it may, you're like, all right, so I'm sending my kids to school they're going to be late because there's not enough buses. They're going to raise my property tax in order to incentivize people to come drivers. They're already not incentivized enough with the benefits that are already given to them, health benefits, when they're only working part-time. So I'm going to have to raise the wages big time. So I'm going to have to pay higher taxes. My schools are nothing but woke fest anymore. Trust me. I know it was just bad. I don't know if you follow that guy, Dr. Steve Turley, on Rumble, but he was giving a video yesterday with all these woke teachers. Let's say, pledging allegiance not to the American flag. It's a different flag, if you know what I'm saying. And a lot of these guys are getting fired because they're so idiotic. They put it on TikTok and whatnot, Instagram. How many teachers are not that idiotic? They're still doing the same thing. Tons. And I think there's somebody in my own community. Interesting. That I got my eye on who's leaning that way too. Let's just put it this way. Anyway, long story short. So you're sitting there thinking, all right, so I'm not getting a quality education, which I thought it was, because a school district was rated highly because of test scores. The school bus drivers aren't showing up, so I got to take care of that myself. They're going to raise my taxes anyway, and now I can just do this from home. Why would I stay here? Why not go up to Jasper County or something like that, where the property taxes are cheaper and the cost of living is cheaper? And they got good high-speed internet. Why should I stay here? Now, I'm telling you, that's just what's going to happen. Part two of this. Why do I want to be in Buckhead for assisted living facility? I want to be in a Buckhead, which is the financial district, the hot potato part of Atlanta. I get it when I'm a hipster, but I'm an old man. I'm not a hipster anymore. Why would I want to pay the services and fees down there? Well, I can also go up to Jasper and Ellijay and old Dawsonville and have cheaper. I mean, that's so you're going to have huge inflation in these areas for sure. You can see that a mile away, which means if you have tons of debt and you need two incomes to pay the debt in which to pay for this house so you can have the schools, you're going to be world hurt. You might need to think twice. Say, this isn't worth it. We're going to have to downsize and relocate because I'm not working two jobs, my wife and me, just so I can afford this house, so I can afford the school district, which isn't serving its point. I'm just telling you, man, I don't know what the net result will be, but when you have shortages in bus drivers, shortages in nurses, shortages. Now, by the way, how do you deal with shortages? You raise prices. This was raising prices. It's inflation. All right, increased costs is inflation. Has nothing to do with the government printing press. It's nothing. I mean, some people would say, well, they've got the unemployment benefits. Well, the unemployment benefits in Georgia have been gone for a couple months now. It has nothing to do with the government printing press. The government printing press is not what leads to inflation. Scarcity leads to inflation. It's just that simple. So be prepared. Be prepared for these essential services. You should see inflation. And if you don't need the essential services, shouldn't you just leave? All right, see you guys.